Recording?
Recording.
Okay. Right, let's just get going then, yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Hello all. Don't laugh at me, man.
Hello. How?
Okay. What episode number is it? It's episode number 58. Episode number 58.
Jesus, Mlulises, that's a lot of numbers.
Hi all. That was awful. Start that again.
Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
Hello, welcome back to Culture Bucket, the world's greatest podcast of all time, of course. We are welcoming you into the year 2022 with our 58th episode, Top 5 Steven Spielberg movies. What an exciting thing to be discussing today once we've done our usual culture catch-up and a little bit of MyTube as well. But I am George, welcoming you. And with me is my co-host, Alex. Hi.
Hi, George. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year, first of all. It's 2022.
Oh, yeah.
2021 is finished. Yeah. How exciting. What happened? Nothing. So, 2022, woohoo.
Yeah, 2021 was an empty year. And 2022 is on track to be another one.
Another empty year?
Another one of those empty years.
Do you think?
Maybe.
I don't know. Like
we'll see.
Omicron is slightly making us regress back to the old past times.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Although hopefully it's go on.
I don't know. Like watching it from Italy, watching the UK, it seems like you guys live in a parallel universe where there's no COVID.
Nope, that's not true.
Okay, it's just the papers. It's like everybody's just like, why are they living that way? Why can we not do the same?
I don't know.
Oh, never mind.
We definitely have COVID here still. It's not gone away. We're just also concerned with the state of our government and the various work parties they've been having during lockdowns, etc.
Fun times.
Yeah, at the end of the year when they do, hey, do you remember what was going on in the news in January? It will be Boris Johnson hosting loads of parties.
Yeah.
Just before the funeral of a royal family member and a man I don't care about being asked to leave Australia. Those will be two things that people remember.
Yes.
January 2022
yes.
for.
Yeah. How weird, eh?
Yeah, bizarre. We live in bizarre times. So let's kick it all off with, we're going to have our usual culture catch-up to start with. Then we're going to do an extended MyTube, so we're going to skip homework for this week, and we're going to have a little bit of a preview of the 2022 movie season.
Yeah.
With some movie trailers in MyTube, and then we will go into our top 5 Steven Spielberg movies. Which should be exciting and fascinating. And then we'll give you a couple of recommendations at the end of things you should go and check out and in the following week. And then we'll join you next week for even more fun times. How does that sound, Alex?
That sounds amazing. Yes.
Good.
Sorry about the homework, guys,
fantastic.
but I have completely forgotten to listen to the album that George recommended because I'm a terrible co-host and friend.
I sort of smoothed that over without needing to mention it, but it's fine that you brought it up. I listened to the album I was meant to listen to, and it was a 5-star.
And you loved it.
And I absolutely loved it.
Good.
So
I didn't ask you how you were today, George. Are you okay?
Yes.
Good.
I'm broadly fine.
Good. Same.
Yes. Yeah, life is fine. I'm excited to be back here doing this again.
I am so excited. It's been so long.
Yeah.
We have
ages.
we have not recorded for a month, and it's been too long.
Yeah, it definitely has. So this is good.
Yeah.
Right, who's going to kick off Culture Catch Up today?
You can, because you can.
Okay.
This is Culture Catch Up time. This is where we talk about what we've watched, what we've read, what we've listened to, and probably some other stuff. Culture Catch Up time.
So I'm mainly going to talk about some movies that I've watched since sort of over the Christmas period.
Mm-hmm.
Kicking off with the latest release from the man himself, Steven Spielberg. I was one of the very few people in the world to actually go to the cinema to see Steven Spielberg's adaptation of West Side Story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Had you watched the original one?
Nope, never seen the original one. Never heard the musical before. Never listened to the music from the musical. I went in completely cold, knowing almost nothing about it. It's set in New York. Yeah, exactly. In 1957, and it basically tells the story of the Jets versus the Sharks, two gangs. The Jets are sort of white boys, and the Sharks are Puerto Rican boys, and they don't like each other, and they argue over this one little plot of land in the West Side in New York. And it's effectively, I didn't realise, it's Romeo and Juliet.
Ah, yes, now I remember.
Yeah, it's basically Romeo and Juliet, but in New York in 1957. And
gang style.
Yeah, gangs going at it. And for the first, it's a long movie, it's like 2.5 hours long. And for the first 20 minutes, I was like, I'm not sure that I like any of this music. I don't know if I like any of this acting. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this movie. And then 2 hours later, I was crying and completely in love. It's amazing. When I was looking through Steven Spielberg's filmography for this podcast, I realized that a lot of his films over the past 10, 15 years just wouldn't make my top 5. Like he's been making perfectly serviceable movies, but none that I love.
Yeah.
And a couple that I really don't like his adaptation of the BFG. But
yeah.
This is the best movie he's made in 20 years, easily.
Amazing.
It's absolutely fantastic. He tells, there's all these stories about how he used to get told off for singing the songs from it at the dinner table when he was a kid, and it's always been his dream to do his own adaptation of West Side Story. And you can sort of tell it's filled him with this real sort of vigour and life, and he's absolutely made the hell out of this film. It is so epic, sweeping, spectacular. The choreography is incredible. The music is amazing, and there were songs in there that I didn't know were from West Side Story.
Oh.
There's a song, I Want to Live in America.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that was a West Side Story song.
Is
it? Yeah. And that song in particular is probably my highlight of the movie. It's a very good sequence. And it's good. The only problem with it is that Ansel Elgort is the star, and aside from various sexual sort of misconduct allegations that he's been embroiled in, between filming the movie and the release of the movie awkwardly, he's also a bad actor. He was in Baby Driver, if you try and remember who he is. He's the main kid in Baby Driver.
What's his name?
And The Fault in Our Stars. He's called Ansel, which is Ansel.
Oh, Ansel.
Elgort.
Ansel, like Ansel
Elgort.
and Gretel.
No, that's Hansel, isn't it, with H
at
the start, at least. Elgort, Elgort.
Yeah.
He's also just not much of a presence on screen. I've never really rated him as an actor. But the rest of the cast make up for it. Rachel Ziegler plays Maria, sort of the female lead, and she's absolutely amazing in it. She's not really done many films before. I think Spielberg found her performing Ziegler live in person and said, performing Maria live in person and said that she was the best Maria he'd ever seen. So he sort of cast her in the film, and she does absolutely just destroy the role. And then there's a character called Anita who is played by Ariana DeBose, who is the best thing in the movie, and hopefully will at least receive a Best Supporting Actress Oscar nomination for her role, because she's so good in it, as the sort of sister-in-law figure to Maria. Yeah, it's a great film. I really, really liked it. It's been a massive flop across the world. It's not made much money at all, which is really disappointing because, like I said, it's Spielberg's best movie in years. It's a fantastic musical. The music's good in it. The set pieces are great. If you've skipped out on it or missed it in the cinemas, then I really do recommend, as soon as it hits streaming services, that you check it out, because it's one that I think a lot of people have missed. And it's worthy of your time for sure. It's absolutely fantastic.
Because I never I think that I'm not a massive musical lover, and so when I saw that, I was like, I just had no interest in. It's amazing how the title West Side Story, even if you have never seen it or don't like musicals, it's just like an iconic musical.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's within the canon of musicals. Like if they made a Mount Rushmore of musicals, it would be one of the 5. Sort of key scripts, I guess.
Absolutely, but I didn't. I might watch it actually if you rate it highly.
I rated it really highly. It was one of the best films last year. You should watch it. Then another big film, another film I was kind of excited to see for a long time, and one that is definitely more within your wheelhouse, I think, is the new film from Paul Thomas Anderson, Licorice Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Licorice Pizza is a coming-of-age comedy drama film. Alex, that's your kind of vibe, right?
That's my vibe, yeah.
Written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. It's set in 1973-ish. It's sort of set around the early to mid-70s and follows a 15-year-old boy called Gary Valentine, played by Cooper Hoffman, who, this is his first film role, but Cooper Hoffman comes from a sort of an acting lineage because his father was Philip Seymour Hoffman. And apparently he never had any intentions to be an actor, so he claims, but Paul Thomas Anderson sort of found him for this movie, because Paul Thomas Anderson had worked a lot with Philip Seymour Hoffman over the years, in films like, I think he's in Boogie Nights, he's definitely in The Master. So Philip Seymour Hoffman's son has sort of set out into the acting world with this role, and he plays a 15-year-old who sort of becomes enamoured with and forms a friendship with a 25-year-old called Alana Kane, played by Alana Haim.
Yeah, because the reason I know about this film is because we follow Haim band, and I saw a lot of photos of her in this film. So yeah. Absolutely.
And the great thing is, like, this character, when there are scenes where she goes home, her sisters are played by her sisters from Haim.
No, really?
Yeah. Amazing. And even more so than that, her parents in the movie are played by her real life parents.
What?
So you get the entire Haim family on screen in this movie. Is it Haim or Haim?
Haim. Well, yeah, but
Haim.
They are, and they all look the same. So they've got so it's good.
Yeah, you can tell they're all related. Like, definitely. So it's another long one. It's 133 minutes long. It's like 2 hours 10, and it's just about. And it's based on stories that a producer, I think, told Paul Thomas Anderson about how he grew up in the 70s in LA. And it sort of is about this kid who is just a sort of natural businessman, a natural hustler, and his sort of early attempts to become something within the world of Los Angeles, starting out selling water mattresses, and then opening a pinball arcade. And it's most similar to, and I'd compare it to, but it has a very different vibe because it's Paul Thomas Anderson as opposed to Tarantino. But it's kind of got a lot in common with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
Because it's kind of a hangout movie. It's kind of not really overly concerned with its story and more concerned with these little vignettes it tells. Like there's one particular sequence where Cooper Hoffman his character Gary sells a waterbed to a Hollywood producer called John Peters, who's a real life guy, who is kind of iconic in, I think, Hollywood lore for being kind of wild and crazy. He was going out of Barbra Streisand at the time when the movie is set, and he talks about this. The character in the movie talks about going out of Barbra Streisand and stuff. And he's played by Bradley Cooper in the film, who has about 3 scenes in the movie and is amazing in it. Like, Bradley Cooper's a guy who I'm hot and cold on nowadays.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's sort of just Bradley Cooper. But he's very, very good in this role as this sort of wild Hollywood producer. But yeah, it just sort of meanders around lazily for 2 hours and then sort of ends. And
Nice. I like that.
if you are, I think you'll really dig it when you see it. But I think if you need plot and action and movement, then you might not get what you want out of Licorice Pizza. But I loved it. I really, really liked it. I thought that Coop Hoffman was amazing in it, but not more importantly, but like Alana Haim is astonishingly good in this film.
Oh, good.
For like the first time she's sort of acted in a film, she's absolutely amazing. Like she's fiery, she's full of energy, she's funny, she's, you know, when she feels emotions, she's just fantastic in it. I really, really liked her in it, and it's a great film, Licorice Pizza. You should watch it.
I will.
Next up, I'm gonna talk about a film that similar to Licorice Pizza. You can go and see my Letterboxd review for it on our Instagram page. The newest movie from Kenneth Branagh,
Oh, yeah.
esteemed British director Kenneth Branagh. Belfast. This movie surprised me, partly because I saw it at a screening where I didn't know what film I was going to watch.
That's amazing. That's really cool. I wish I could do that. Like going to screenings.
Yeah, there's Cineworld Cinema here sometimes has secret screenings where you don't know what film you're going to see. Last year I went to a secret screening and it was Free Guy, the Ryan Reynolds video game thing. Ugh. And I was nervous this time it was going to be the 355, which is a new sort of action movie that looks okay. It's got a lot of good actresses in it, but it's directed by Simon Kinberg, who's a bit... But it wasn't that. It was a film I wasn't expecting it to be at all, Belfast. This is written and directed by Kenneth Branagh. It's set in Belfast in 1969 and follows a Northern Irish Protestant family, mainly from the perspective of their son, Buddy, who is 9 years old. And Kenneth Branagh was born in Belfast, grew up in Belfast and he was born in 1960. So I think it's safe to assume that this is to some degree autobiographical. You know, his remembrance of Belfast from his childhood. Now, obviously, I'm not equipped to talk in detail about the troubles in Northern Ireland during this period.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie, I think, does an amazing job of showing that during this period where there were soldiers on the streets, houses were being firebombed, there were checkpoints in the streets, people were sort of dying, that ordinary family life sort of had to find a way to continue.
Yeah.
And that families just sort of had to do what they could to live through it. And it was a very difficult period to be alive in, but also, as with any family living within any time, there was also joy and happiness and humour and sadness that would come from places other than, just because you live in effectively a war zone doesn't mean that the only source of sadness and grief in your family might be from that, if that makes sense. So the movie opens and it's all shot in black and white. It, in fact, opens in colour with these beautiful sweeping shots of Belfast as it is today. And then it very smoothly transitions into black and white, beautiful black and white photography, as it goes back to 1969. And opens with a scene that feels like it could be opening of a sitcom, a cheesy sitcom of a kid walking down the street, talking to all his neighbours and having a laugh. And then it very quickly pivots and the street gets attacked by people trying to turf out Catholic families that are living on the street. And the way the film juxtaposes quite, I think, intentionally saccharine style family drama with very harrowing, real depictions of the troubles is genius, and I think has led to some reviews being a bit sniffy and saying it all feels a bit sort of like, how has he made a film set during this period and have it be so sort of almost, I don't know what to, like, saccharine but it's, I think he's doing it intentionally. I think he's intentionally creating a sort of, you know, showing how life continued during this area, and it's, you know, it's quite sweetly nostalgic, but also depicts these difficult times. It's a really tricky balancing act, and I think he nails it perfectly. And his cast nail it perfectly. He's got Jude Hill, this young kid playing Buddy. Catriona Balfe plays Buddy's mother, who is known to people from a show called Outlander, a sort of time travel show that I think she's very good in. Jamie Dornan, famously from 50 Shades of Grey, absolutely kills it as Buddy's dad. He is amazing in this movie. I think he deserves awards recognition for his part in this film. There's one sequence near the end, an almost musical sequence where he's singing this song, and I like, for days after I saw this movie I was thinking back to that sequence and almost crying at how kind of emotional it is. It's so good. Judi Dench plays the grandmother, and Kieran Hines plays the grandfather, and then there's a variety of other really good actors all throughout it, and it's just great. It's just beautiful and witty and funny and clever. Like, it's all filmed in this beautiful black and white photography, but there's a handful of scenes where you see them go to the theatre or to the cinema, and you see that the theatre they're watching and the cinema they're watching is shown in colour, but their lives are shown in black and white. And again, I think it just is all gorgeous, and it's all soundtracked to Van Morrison, who as much as he might be a grumpy old fart of a man in 2022, I grew up listening to Van Morrison because my parents like Van Morrison, and it just added to all of it was it's got all these Van Morrison songs kind of running through it, and they're just wonderful as well. It's great. It's absolutely great. We could be talking at the end of this year about our favourite films of the year, and Belfast might still be my number one. It's absolutely astonishing. I loved it. So I don't think it's officially out yet, but go and see Belfast.
When I went to the cinema last, there was the trailer for it, and I really, really want to watch it. It looks amazing. And I feel like probably if you haven't lived in that era, that of course you need to find some kind of happiness in any moment, even if there's a tumultuous war outside your door, because if not, well, you need to find a reason to live, don't you?
Exactly, and there's a lot of discussions like that within the film, and the family end up finding their solution in a way that's interesting. But no, it's great.
Good,
it's really, really good. 3 more movies that I'll talk about in a bit more briefly, just because they're sort of valid and relevant to talk about. There's the Power of the Dog. Have you heard of The Power of the Dog?
No.
It's a Netflix movie. It's the newest film from sort of legendary director Jane Campion, who made The Piano in like 1991, I think. It's a Western. It stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, and Cody Smith-McPhee. Benedict Cumberbatch and Jesse Plemons are 2 wealthy brothers who run a ranch together. Jesse Plemons is very sort of buttoned up, uptight, businessman-esque, and Benedict Cumberbatch is far more rough and ready on the ranch, cowboy style. And sort of treats his brother quite poorly, calls him fatso and stuff a lot at the start of the movie. The main thrust of the film is Jesse Plemons quite early on meets Kirsten Dunst, a widowed she runs an inn, and her and her son sort of work there together. There's a scene early on where Benedict Cumberbatch's character bullies and is horrible to her son, who is very sort of effeminate and not very manly. And very quickly, Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst fall in love, get married, and Kirsten Dunst and her son move onto the farm. And then the movie takes quite a long time sort of exploring the relationships between these people living together on this ranch. Kirsten Dunst sort of bullied mercilessly at the hands of Benedict Cumberbatch's character. You start to explore why Benedict Cumberbatch's character, Phil, is the way he is and is so horrible. And then later on in the movie, returning from university, the son, Cody Smith-McPhee's character, comes back into it and begins to form relationships with the characters in ways that you might not expect. It's a fascinating movie. It's very long. It's very slow. It's the slowest of burns, and it's actually it's a fascinating movie where it's a psychological thriller that you might not even realise is a psychological thriller until the second time you watched it. The story of the movie is actually happening around the edges of the film, and you have to pay really close attention to puzzle out what causes the events of the end of the movie to happen and why and who is at fault and who's done what and who's actually got the real power. It's a really meaty adult movie that isn't easy to love, and I didn't love it, and I think it's probably going to end up taking a lot of awards buzz and sort of not to pit movies against each other, but I would pick Belfast over this film. I think they're the two big films going into kind of award season. It's on Netflix, so it's watchable. I think everyone should give it a go and watch it. It's fascinating, and it is interesting, and like all of the acting in it is like Benedict Cumberbatch. Like, he's a guy that I consistently want to not like because he just is in everything nowadays. But he's really good in this film. He's really, really good. Kirsten Dunst is really good. Jesse Plemons is great. Cody Smith McPhee is really good. It's a good film. It's a good film. It's a slow film, but I recommend that people give it a go.
Sounds good.
Yeah. You should. I think you'd like it. You should check it out. It's sort of a slice of life kind of a movie. It's not much of a Western beyond the setting.
Okay.
Yeah, two more to go. Very, very quickly. Scream.
Ah, yeah.
I watched Scream.
How was that? That's one of the first. Is it a slasher film?
Yeah. Scream's a slasher.
Yeah,
film.
we watched it in school. There was a strike of teachers or something, the teacher strike when I was in middle school. And they said, you can watch a film. And we were unsupervised. And we watched Scream.
Wow.
I know, which is crazy, isn't it? But
yeah.
How was it? Because everybody's back, isn't it? Everybody kind of.
Well, the crazy thing of the Scream franchise is that this is just called Scream.
Yeah. How was what was the first one called?
Scream.
Oh, okay, so Scream.
Yeah, and I kind of thought it was ridiculous until after watching the movie I realised that they're doing a joke on the fact that newest Halloween movie from a couple of years ago was just called Halloween, the 2018 one. Because the whole thing with Scream is always it's been meta, and they're always making comments about the horror genre within the world that they're set in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's called Scream instead of Scream 5, because it's kind of a run on that. I had high expectations for this film because I love, I've watched the original Scream 2 or 3 times just in the past year. I adore that movie.
Okay. There's a weird noise on your side.
Yeah, I think someone is doing laundry.
Okay.
I think it will dissipate shortly.
Someone, like your housemate?
Well, I live in a block of flats.
Ah.
So I think it might be below.
Ah, okay, sorry, yeah.
I live in a house that's split into flats. Let's not give too much detail away about where I live. Could be anywhere. Yeah, so Scream. I had high expectations for it. I've watched the original 3 or 4 times in just the past year. And the sequels are, to one degree or another, all quite good. All directed by, except for Scream 3, which is pretty poor, all directed by Wes Craven up until this one because he's sadly passed away. So I wasn't able to return for Scream 5. But stepping into his shoes were Matt Bettinelli, Alpin and Tyler Gillett, who a couple of years ago made a movie called Ready or Not, which starred Samara Weaving and was kind of like a horror take on hide and seek and was amazing. So high expectations with them behind the wheel. Like you said, everyone is coming back. Neve Campbell's coming back. David Arquette's coming back. Courtney Cox is coming back. That's pretty much everyone you need. There's a whole new cast of characters, including Jack Quaid, Jenna Ortega, and who else is in there? Melissa Barrera, Dylan Minnert. Quite a lot of young actors who I've seen in other things be very good. So a lot of kind of high hopes going in. And it's pretty good. It's not amazing. It's not as good as the original. It's got a lot of good set pieces in it. It's quite fun and funny. It just isn't scary. The original film, I watched Mark Kermode's review of this film earlier, and he was making the point, it's not the original Scream, as well as being funny and a commentary on slasher movies, is in itself a good kind of horror film, a scary film. This movie's far more like funny and gets wrapped up within its own narrative and its own mythology, and is good. But it's odd. I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd because I did enjoy it, but I kind of wish that I wish it had been more somehow. It's an odd one. But worth checking out. I think if you've never seen a Scream movie before, don't start with this one, because they do it within the world of the Scream films. There's a franchise of films called Stab, which are meant to be that world's version of the adaptations of the stories of the Scream films, if that makes sense. And there's a lot of discussion of the Stab franchise, which is obviously meant to be a discussion of the Scream franchise, and it's very, very wrapped up in its own world. So it's fine, but there are better movies.
Yeah. Well, I saw you gave it 4 stars, so if you give it 4 stars, that means it's good, but it's not as good as the first one.
No, the first one's like 5 stars. I'd say it's on par with Scream 4, which I really liked, and better than Scream 2 and 3, which are both to varying degrees sort of not perfect.
Yeah.
I'd recommend watching it, but I think you have to be at least somewhat a fan of the franchise to get much out of it.
Is it the first time that Courtney Cox, Neve Campbell, and David Arquette are back after the second one? They're all in.
No, they're all in. They're all in all of them.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Because I've only seen the first one.
Come back. No, they always come back for them. And this one struggles more than the others to find a reason for them to be there. And I think that's partly what I was disappointed by. They're there, they exist, they're in the movie, but you almost could see the movie happening without them being there.
Okay.
And it would be as good.
When was number 4 made?
Like 10 years ago, 2011 or so.
Yeah, so it took a long time to make this one.
Yeah, number 4 had Hayden Panettiere and Emma Roberts in it, as well as a few other people.
Remember.
It was really good, actually, Scream 4. I really liked it. Worth watching. Anyway, very last thing to talk about is I watched a documentary yesterday called Woodlands, Dark and Days Bewitched, which is a 3 hour and 10-minute long documentary all about the folk horror genre. And I loved it. Okay. And if you want to watch people talk quite academically about folk horror across the entire world for 3 hours, then I can't recommend Woodlands, Dark and Days Bewitched enough. They go through everything from the Wicker Man and Blood and Satan's Claw all the way through to the Witch in the modern day, visiting every country around the world in between. And it's an absolute delight and a pleasure. And I loved it. So Woodlands, Dark and Days Bewitched, people should check out. It's just a talking head documentary, but it's very, very good. Your turn.
Sounds all good. All sounds good.
Yeah, thank you.
Sounds all good. All sounds good. Like the folk horror, so does that mean that it's kind of it's talking about the origins of it?
Talking about the origins of it in cinema, so it's sort of just so it starts off.
So what?
Like
the Wicker Man is folk horror.
So the original trilogy of folk horror movies that sort of coined the term to describe these 3 movies was The Wicker Man, Blood on Satan's Claw, and The Witchfinder General, which all came out between like 1960 and the mid 1970s, and they're all to do with the English countryside or the British countryside and something dark lurking there that ordinary people sort of fall into. So in the case of the Wicker Man, it's a cult on this island. In the case of Blood on Satan's Claw, it's Satan, and in the Witchfinder General, it's like there's nothing actually supernatural going on, but it's sort of about this guy played by Vincent Price who goes across Civil War England and hunts down people he accuses of being witches and kills them. And obviously, as we know today, he was actually the evil person because they weren't witches. But then you kind of go across the entire world. They talk about this film, Noroi, The Curse, from Japan, that I've talked about on the podcast before, that I love, which is all about Japanese folk mythology and this Japanese village being drowned by a dam, and it causes this demon that they've been sort of placating with rituals for years to kind of be unleashed because they, you know, that, and it ends up by discussing films like The Witch by Robert Eggers from the last few years, which is kind of the modern day, the most recent sort of take on folk horror, and also discusses how films like maybe the Texas Chainsaw Massacre could be considered a folk horror movie almost more than it could be considered a slasher film.
So yeah, okay. So it's a new Robert Eggers film with which is called
The Northman.
Is that going to be like folk horror?
The Northman looks more like an action film.
Okay.
Almost like a period action film in the vein of a Braveheart or something along those lines, but maybe hopefully more historically accurate than Braveheart.
Oh, good. Interesting. I love all your selection.
Thank you.
Very nice. So it's my turn to talk about what I have done. If I could turn on my thing. Yes. So I'm gonna talk about a few films and a couple of books I have read.
Lovely.
So at the end of last year in probably like December last year, 2021, this film directed by directed and written by Paolo Sorrentino came out, which is called The Hand of God. È stata la mano di Dio. Di Dio? Oh, I've got an English accent when I speak Italian. È stata la mano di Dio, which I don't know if just the title it reminds you of anything. The Hand of God.
There's the city of The Hand of God is the football thing, right?
Yeah. So just even before watching it, you think about Maradona. It was Argentina against England, and Maradona managed to score a goal, maybe by using his hand. But it's iconic, isn't it? It's an iconic moment where whether you are still bitter about it, you know exactly what the Hand of God is. And so this film is set in 1980s Naples, and it follows the main character, Fabietto, who loves football, and it shows the moment where Napoli finally bought Maradona and in the football team, and so like it shows that, and he lives in a happy family, but also a family with his own problems, and a massive tragedy happens, and he kind of has to live with that. And it's basically like the life of Fabietto and the start of his love for filmmaking. It's an amazing film. I really enjoyed watching it. It's kind of Sorrentino is from Napoli, the director, but he has never actually made a film about Napoli for a very long time, and it's kind of autobiographical, really. Like it kind of shows his experience of Napoli. It's very amazing. It's very nice to watch. Is a slice of life. It shows Napolitan culture, Napolitan life, and it's just a personal story of family, the love of football, and considering, Maradona God. Because Maradona in Napoli was considered a god, finding yourself and loss at a young age, and so it's a really nice film to watch. It might not be the most maybe iconic film that an Italian director has done, but knowing the story of Paolo Sorrentino, it feels like he really put his soul into it, and you can feel it, because it's really autobiographical. And the reason why he did this film is because he watched this film Roma.
The Alfonso Cuarón
Yeah,
movie.
which was really personal. And Paolo Sorrentino never really wanted to show a film about himself, because he was like, who cares? Like, when you do something, people go, you think, well, who cares seeing about this? But after watching Roma, which was really personal to its director, he was like, well, no, I think I can do something about my life in Napoli.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. Maybe it hasn't, it's not the most, like, we've been talking about original, but maybe it's not the most original, but it's the most love. Like, if it's real, if it's full of love. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if you watched it, because it's on Netflix.
I haven't. No, what's it called again?
The Hand of God.
The Hand of God. I've not even seen it on Netflix. So.
Well, yeah, it came out at the cinema here, and then a couple of weeks later it came out straight on Netflix. I think that's what they're doing at the moment. Just
The Hand of God.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting because, like, Steven Spielberg's next film is about his life growing up. It's interesting all these directors are suddenly making movies about their own childhoods. I wonder what's caused this wave of kind of autobiographical filmmaking.
I guess anyone does, unless you're a sociopath or psychopath. Anyone that does believes that they're not, what they do might not be of any interest to anyone. You know, when people write biographical stories, like why would anybody read that? But people are interested in other people's lives, aren't they?
Yeah,
and so I think maybe Alfonso Cuarón Roma opened a new genre of, like, personal films. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it.
Yeah. And then I watched a film by the director Eiji Uchida. He directs one of my favorite series on Netflix, The Naked Director. Yeah. And this film is a 2020 film called Midnight Swan.
Midnight Swan.
Do you know about it?
I feel like I've heard the name before, but I've not seen it.
It's a film about Nagiza, who's a transgender woman. She grew up in Hiroshima as a man, but she knew that she didn't really belong. She knew she couldn't come out to her family, and so she moved to Tokyo, and she lives in Shinjuku, and she works in nightclubs as an entertainer, as a transgender entertainer. Something in Hiroshima happens to her niece. She lives with an alcoholic mother, and her mother, I think, sends her up to Tokyo to live with her, what she thinks uncle, but she's not. Her uncle is her. She has transitioned without her family knowing, and her niece Ichika has grown up with this alcoholic mother, so she's been really kind of neglected and lived pretty much by herself. And it's basically the story of Nagiza and Ichika living together, and Nagiza helping Ichika pursue her dreams, and Ichika helping Nagiza feeling more a woman and feeling more herself. Feel like for the first time feeling like she could be a mother. heartbreaking, lovely Japanese slice of life film. Of course, it has had its controversies because, first of all, Nagisa is not played by an actual transgender woman; is played by a cis actor called Tsuyoshi Kusanagi, who's a really famous entertainer in Japan. He was part of SMAP. So that created some controversy. There are some actual transgender actresses in the film, so that kind of saves it a little bit. But it's a big. It also shows the fact that Nagisa, the only job that she can do as a woman is in the entertainment night industry, and which gets paid very little, and so a lot of these transgender women need to also sell their bodies for sex to earn more money to live a normal life. It kind of puts a magnifying glass on the situation in Japan, and it's amazing. It's heartbreaking. I really liked it. Of course, not much happens, but a lot of happens, and so I think it's a really good film. And the director Eiji Uchida, he likes putting at the forefront these people that are on the edges of society in Japan. So in this one, he's talking about this transgender community. In Naked Director, he's talking about the porn industry. Just kind of like putting in the forefront these things that needs to be talked about because it's. They need to be talked about. But yeah, so I thought that was a really good film, Midnight Swan from Japan. And then a film that you watched as well, maybe you can talk about it quickly. A film that has ruffled many feathers, and I don't know why. The Netflix film, well, I know why, but I don't know why it's been so visceral in the world. But the film Don't Look Up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, directed and written by Adam McKay with an incredible cast. Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep, Cate Blanchett, Jonah Hill, etc. Tyler Perry's in it. Timothée Chalamet, etc., etc. And Ariana Grande and Kid Cudi are in it as well. Like everybody. And it's just a film about two astronomers that find out that there's this massive meteor, or is it meteor?
Asteroid?
Comet. Asteroid?
It's an asteroid.
Yeah, so this massive asteroid coming towards Earth, and they have to do something about it, and so they inform the White House, and it's basically a film of how the ineptitude of the world and how the world is divided on how to fix a massive threat to humanity. I personally thought it was great. It's coming from an English background of satire and Italian background of satire. American satire is a little bit different and less subtle than maybe English satire. But I appreciated it, and sometimes it's a bit over the top, isn't it? Like American satire, which is
it's not subtle at all.
Which is complete, like, and some bits I thought kind of like, some moments I thought kind of like Monty Python, kind of absurd scenes of people doing things, and Meryl Streep is great in this film. She's so funny and so
she is
incredible, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it was good satirical piece on the world today. I thought it was kind of spot on. And I enjoyed it. It ruffled many feathers. People are like really had a visceral reaction against this film, saying, you're telling me what I'm supposed to do. It's like, no, it's just satire, and you can enjoy it. You don't have to enjoy it. I don't know. What did you think?
I really liked it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I just think it's a funny comedy.
Yeah.
I don't even understand why it's a satire. There's no asteroid coming to our Earth. I don't get what you mean by.
Are you being?
What's it satirizing?
Are you being sarcastic?
It's not parodying a meteor, so we don't have any meteors. We're fine.
George. I don't know if you're being serious or not.
But we're fine. We haven't got an asteroid that's going to come and destroy our planet, so I don't understand why our planet's going to be fine.
Okay.
So what's the problem?
Oh, there's no problem. That everything is fine. There's no satire.
Good. Do you know what I didn't like in it?
What?
Mark Rylance. Get out of Hollywood, Mark Rylance.
Mark Rylance. I thought it was funny.
He's the. Have you seen Ready Player One?
No.
He's playing the same character in this as he played in Ready Player One. This sort of man-child with this irritating sort of lilting voice.
I thought it was hilarious. He's like, oh, well, we can do this with his massive teeth. Oh, his teeth.
Maybe because I've seen him do it already.
Okay.
In another movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you just doing the same character again? No, I didn't like him in it, but I thought DiCaprio was great in it.
DiCaprio is incredible. Like, he's an amazing actor. He is so good.
I don't like the idea that you can put as many bad wigs as you want on Jennifer Lawrence. The idea that anyone would ever look at her and be like, what an uggo, is insane.
She is beautiful.
She is one of the most beautiful women in the world. Like, they try to be like, look how ugly she is. She's got a fringe. Oh.
Well, no, I guess
Jennifer
also
Lawrence.
The internet will call anybody ugly, So I feel like maybe it's kind of accurate that like this beautiful woman, like even her, I don't mind her hair. I think it's cool. I think just because the internet.
I think her hair's cool in it.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think that's the intention of the movie. Like, I've seen quotes on the director being like, yeah, I told the makeup department to make her look as ugly as possible. Oh. No, you didn't, mate. You can't do that.
You can't do that because she's gorgeous and an incredible actor. So. I thought I don't know. Jonah Hill was hilarious with his Birkin bag always around.
He was pretty good in it.
I loved him. I just thought it's a great film, fun to watch, slightly scary because just like.
No, we don't have an asteroid.
Oh, you're right.
Alex.
You're right. We don't have an asteroid.
What you're talking about.
Yeah, but it was fun, and the moment, like one of the moments that stays in my head is when what happens with General Themes, played by Paul Guilfoyle.
I think you're about to describe my favourite bit of the film.
Yeah, but I don't want to describe it because I want people to watch it if you haven't watched it. He does something that is so outrageous.
And the thing that Jennifer Lawrence later in the film is like, why would
Jennifer Lawrence throughout the film comes up with this, and it just feels like me, because like, why did you do that? Like, it's just the human condition. Why would
somebody do something like that? There's no reason to do it. Yeah.
And I just love that moment because it's genius, because it's such a simple moment of like him doing something, and then you can forget about it for the rest of the film. Instead of Jennifer Lawrence, like, and then he made us pay for it.
There's a bit much later on in the movie where she's been locked in this room and she's just sat there, like, she just suddenly goes, but why would he do that? Why did he make this? Yeah. That was my favourite joke in the film.
Good. And I thought it was great. And I was reading some comments on Letterboxd, and people are just so offended by it because like, well, you're telling me that I'm this and that. Just watch the film, enjoy the satire if you think it's satire, or enjoy the film and shut up.
The only point where it gets a little bit too heavy-handed for me is when they start having rallies at the end, and it's a very clear thing of Trump's rallies. That bit almost is too broad and silly, but up to that point, I really like it.
Yeah, I guess I just like the fact that in that rally they go, he just looks up, and then they're like, "Don't look up, don't look." It's just so simple in a way because it's just like, "Don't look up," and then they all look up. It's like, "You lied to us." It's like, but they didn't. You just had to. You just had to not. You just had to not listen to them. I just thought I thought that bit was a bit funny because it's just so stupid.
A lot of people chanting "Don't look up" also sounds very similar to a load of people chanting "Lock her up," which is, I think, intentional.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of without spoiling it, what did you think of the very, very ending, like the little sort of Kappa stinger scene with Meryl Streep and Mark Rylance and a few other characters?
It was it was that funny what happened to Meryl Streep.
It's weird. It's very weird.
The fact that you see she's got a tramp stamp is just like, why would you put a tramp stamp on?
Apparently Leonardo DiCaprio was really, like, didn't want to show her naked and with a tramp stamp and stuff because he was like, she's acting royalty. And the director had to be like, Leo, it's a body double though, it's not her. And he still didn't want to do it because he felt like it was disrespectful which just makes me judge Leonardo DiCaprio a bit for, like, forgetting that it's a movie and she's playing a character, etc. That was weird. That's a weird little bit of trivia you can read up on.
Yeah.
But no, I liked it. I thought Don't Look Up. I thought it was really good. It's too long by about 20 minutes, but other than that, it's a pretty great film.
Yeah, it's a bit too long. I think some bits could have been cut, but I think everybody was excellent in it, and it's amazing that so many great actors all unify, all like were in one Netflix film. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And if you think it's being too judgmental about you and the way you live your life, just remember that there's no big comet or asteroid coming at us, so it's not a commentary on you, it's just a film. Understand how people are reading into it in that way. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know, but you can view it as however you wanted to view it. I just thought it was quite satirically accurate.
I feel like on a daily basis I am Jennifer Lawrence's character in the movie, so I enjoyed it.
Yes. Yes, but yeah, I thought it was good.
One final thing: the two most accurate bits of satire in the movie, in my opinion, are one where as soon as she appears on TV for the first time and people think she looks mad, her boyfriend immediately dumps her and does that BuzzFeed article that's like, that crazy woman that thinks we're all going to die, I actually slept with her.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pitch perfect parody of BuzzFeed news articles that I've seen.
Yeah.
And the second one is where they're all watching the first attempt to go up and destroy the comet, and the rocket ship that the government has sent up starts turning around and nobody knows why. And everyone, you see all these onlookers looking up and going, it's turning, why is it turning? And then this one guy goes, oh, no, I used to be in the Navy, this is fine, I understand what's happening. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what you read on internet message boards, is people being like, I used to work in a garage, so I understand why this is happening. Yeah, that those two things I thought were very funny.
Yeah, I think it's great. Watch it, it's good. And then, so that was it. But after your recommendation, I also finished watching Loki, which I thought it was great. Finally, I didn't fall asleep because it's quite relaxing, Loki. I don't know. I found it quite nice and relaxing.
Muted sort of colours and stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of tan
but
orange.
The more it goes on, the better it gets, and it's incredible. Loki is really, really, really good. And it kind of reminded me sometimes of like Doctor Who, like little bits. Like it was
I think it's absolutely inspired by Doctor Who.
Yeah, and I thought that I like that because it's kind of had the simplicity of Doctor Who in this incredible, massive
What did you think about Jonathan Majors in the last episode, that character?
Which one is that one?
He's the guy The guy that they find at the end.
the guy. It was weird and frustrating to have him there in a way, because they arrive there and nothing is solvable.
What? Yeah.
And
he is the new Thanos.
I thought so. But it's amazing that it kind of opens so many possibilities of this universe.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty interesting. I really like that. But also, what I liked is the fact that she fights all of her life to get to this point, and that gets to this point, and then nothing really changes. Like, nothing is going to bring anything back. And I thought it was really...
Well, except that they have created the ability for the multiverse to exist, which you can see the effects of straight away in like stuff like Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
That's good. Did you watch any other Marvel stuff?
Then I watched Black Widow, which I thought it was good. Not my favourite. Florence Pugh is a bomb. She's incredible. She's so good. Because I wasn't really sure about watching it because, me and accents, and people are doing accents for a while. But then it makes sense, the accents they're doing, so they're fine.
Her accent is supposedly... Because I watched a YouTube video where like a dialect coach, a Russian dialect coach kind of talked about all their accents, and like she talked about how like I think Florence Pugh's is the most accurate.
Yeah. She's...
And then David Harbour's intentionally doing like a buffoon version of it, but that's his character, right?
Yeah. But I thought it was good. It was very serious. There were some fun bits in the middle, but it's quite serious. And
I like it when Florence Pugh makes fun of the way that Black Widow lands.
She's like, and you go like this, and you go like this.
Whip
Why?
your hair.
You whip your hair.
You...
She's amazing. Florence Pugh is so good. And then after I watched Black Widow, I was like, I have to watch Hawkeye.
Oh, a bit more Florence Pugh.
And Hawkeye is amazing. I can't believe, I nearly watched the entire season in one afternoon because I was so invested. And then I was like, Alex, you can't spend all afternoon. I think those were Hawkeye was a really good top series that you watched last year. It's really, really, really good. And Hailee Steinfeld is amazing in it. I thought she was great, and Florence Pugh and Hailee Steinfeld have really good chemistry. I loved it. So thank you. Good recommendations for last year.
I know it's bad, but they took probably the worst character in the MCU and somehow made an amazing series.
Yeah. And I like him now.
So do I. But I really like Kate Bishop. I want much, much, much more Kate Bishop.
Yeah. And I like the fact that the guy from Better Call Saul is in it. What's his name?
But I can't remember his name in either thing.
No.
He's the sword fighter.
Yeah. But he's fun. He's just fun to watch. He's a fun character, a fun actor to watch.
Yeah.
What's his name? Let me find him, because that's not very nice if we don't remember his name. Tony Dalton.
He's amazing in Better Call Saul, and it's fun to see him pop up in this. Vera Farmiga, though, as well. Ooh.
Who?
She plays Kate's mum.
Yeah. Where is she from?
She's in all the Conjuring movies. She plays one of the leads in the Conjuring films. Along with... She's been in loads of stuff. I really like her as an actress or an actor. But yeah, you can definitely see her in the Conjuring films.
I loved Hawkeye. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And
good.
And then I'm going to talk about a couple of books that I've read during the holidays. I've never read a book by a Korean author, and this popped up on my recommendations, and is a book by Cho Nam-jo, and it's called Kim Ju-young, born 1982. It's had lots of... It's like a bestseller, international bestseller, and is the story of a young woman born in 1982, and it talks about the institutionalized misogyny and oppression that she lives in everyday Korea, from the checking of the fetus, if it was a boy or a girl, when she was born, to eating at school, to eating after the boys because the boys had to eat before, to a gender pay gap, and it's a book where nothing happens, but a lot of it happens, and the best bit is the end. Like,
Oh yeah.
the last page, I just was like, I kind of was in like, I was really invested in his book and reading and doing, and how things are like that are normal are really not really right for women in South Korea, and not just South Korea. Like, probably any woman in the world has lived some kind of this, of what she talks about. But the ending is so, for me personally, that's what really got me, because I finished it and I was like, oh, because the book doesn't really finish, because of course it's not finished. It's still going on. This woman was
I like
born.
an ending like that.
Yeah, and I thought it was amazing. And then the title, after when you finish it, the title makes so much sense, and it's a great book, and it's 136 pages. It's not very long, but it's very, I think, powerful. And the fact that a lot of women, not just in Korea but around the world, have read a little bit of themselves in this book, and I think it kind of unifies the state of being woman in a way. It's not just South Korea that treats women that way. It's not just Japan that treats women that way. It's not Italy. It's the world, maybe in different ways. But I thought it was really good. And then I read the second book by Sayaka Murata, which you read her book, Convenience Store Woman. And
great book.
Yes, and she wrote another book called Earthlings.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, and it's about this girl, Natsuki, who is not like any other girl, and she believes that she is a person from, like, an alien from another planet, and with her, she spends her summers in this house in Nagano, and with her cousin Yu, and he also thinks that he is not from this planet, and what happens one summer completely changes their lives forever, and yeah, it's an amazing book. People didn't. I personally loved it because Sayaka Murata feels, even in A Convenience Store Woman, she writes about this, the main character, she doesn't really fit in, but she pretends to fit in by making some actions to be able to fit in society. And the same with Natsuki in this book. So the difference is, Natsuki in this book is the victim of abuse, sexual and psychological, from her family and other people. And so the more that this happens to her, the more she kind of realizes that she's not part of this world, and she can she is hoping to leave this world one day and go back to her planet, but then what happens that summer makes her believe that maybe she's never going to go back to that planet, and so she lives the life of an earthling by finding a husband and living her life. And and then and I love this book because it's kind of like convenience store woman, but more a more sense of like not belonging into a society and trying to fit in the best you can, and people only liking you if you follow this sort of societal pattern that you're supposed to follow. I think is great. It's not as popular as the first one, but I think is unfortunately there's harder stuff to read here. And so
it sounds quite sad.
Yeah. But also by the end it's very good, but I just love how she writes, and I think she's great, and she needs to write more books about the I think this book could help many people to not conform and not feel weird if they cannot conform to the society's needs. And whilst Kim Jo-young, born in 1982, is all about her conforming to society's needs because that's how you're supposed to go. This one is more like, do that, but don't you don't necessarily have to. So two beautiful books about the state of being that I really enjoyed reading. So if you have time to read, they're good books to read by two great authors.
Nice.
Yes.
Both sound good and have intense.
Yeah. I'm in a role of reading really intense books, and at the moment I'm reading something that's really like I really want to go under a pillow and under my duvet and never leave again. But but it's a good way to kind of expand. And that's it for me for culture cachapo. More books.
Some good stuff there.
Yeah, more books are gonna come. I think I'm on a roll of reading books. I'm gonna start, if I like them, of course, talking about more books.
Good, please do.
Shank.
I've been reading comic books recently.
Yeah, I know. That's really exciting.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty cool. I'm reading through the Civil War storyline in Marvel, which is pretty good. It's just interesting because obviously my experience of that has been through the movies, and in the comic books you involve characters like Wolverine and the X-Men, and people that aren't in the MCU at the moment. So it's interesting to see, like in the comic book, the Falcon. What the Falcon thinks about the Civil War is nobody really cares because it's the Falcon. Whereas obviously because of in the MCU, he's one of the characters they have. He's much more prominent in that. It's just interesting to see the different different takes on it. Like in the comic books, Namor, the king of Atlantis, has an opinion, whereas in the MCU he doesn't exist yet. So they have to go to smaller characters like Falcon.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Oh, go on.
Are you buying you're not buying the actual copies? Are you buying them on?
No, I got there's an app called Marvel Unlimited for that I've got on my tablet that you subscribe to, and you get kind of basically all the Marvel comics on it. It's like Netflix, but for Marvel comics. Yeah, it's good. I was looking. There's no version of it for DC, or there is a version of it for DC, and for some annoying reason, it's not available in the UK. So I can't read Batman, which is annoying. But never mind. Shall we move on?
Yes, definitely.
Sweet. So we're gonna do we're gonna do my tube now and have a little 2022 movie preview. Are you up for this?
I am so up for it.
I've got a selection of trailers to share with you, starting with. Well, I'll send you the links and you can say what they're for and whether you're interested or not before we watch it. Starting with this one. You can also tell me if you've seen the trailer yet.
Okay. The Bob's... No! I haven't seen the trailer for this. Oh! Sorry.
So what are we about to watch?
We are about to watch the Bob's Burgers movie official trailer, 20th Century Studios.
Yeah, baby.
Sorry.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Have you got any adverts or are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh. Are you hungry for something good?
What could it be?
It's a
Ooh, some delicious bread.
burger. That's a good advert, isn't it, for a nice Whopper?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it looks cinematic.
Yeah, right. They've done something to the animation. It somehow looks more HD.
Yeah. Wow. When is it out?
It's out in May, I believe.
I love Linda.
I love Teddy.
She's amazing. It looks like when The Simpsons did their movie, like just the animation. It looks like that. You remember when they did the movie and like the animation was incredible?
Just a little bit more polished.
Yeah. Oh, it looks so good. I'm so excited.
So apparently the plot of this film is that a giant sinkhole opens up in front of the restaurant, ruining Bob's summer plans to make money, as no one can get into the restaurant. So while him and Linda are dealing with that, the kids go off on an adventure to search for some treasure that might solve all their problems. What I love about it. Oh, and also apparently it's a musical, which is Bob's Burgers always smashes it with music, so that's really good. What I love about that is that I was really kind of worried that they would take the route of being like, this summer the Belchers are hitting the road on a big road trip across America. Like, so often when they do a movie of a TV show, they feel the need to like take them away from their location and put them somewhere different. And I'm glad that it seems like it's still in the restaurant, in their weird little town with all the people and stuff. And I love Bob's Burgers so much.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I'm excited. Cool.
Exciting. That's going to be a big one.
At the cinema or is it coming out on a streaming service?
Supposedly it's coming out in the cinema, but all of the episodes are on Disney Plus now, so hopefully it won't be long before it's on Disney Plus as well.
That's good.
And watchable there. Yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that more when it hits the world. But yeah, the Bob's Burgers movie. Up next, let me know if you've seen this trailer before.
No, I haven't. Studio 666 official trailer.
Right. Are you ready to watch?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Foo Fighters?
Our 10th album.
Yep.
Break the mold on this one.
What? Is that film?
We've never been.
Oh.
This place is amazing.
No.
So what do you think you're watching here?
I'm watching a film
Got a couple of ideas I've been working on.
about a horror film.
Dude, wait. It's called Everlong, and you wrote it
20 years ago. It's about, I think,
Everything okay?
them trying to do it's like a film about them making the new album but making it a film.
Yes.
And then a horror
And it's
film.
a horror film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Foo Fighters have made a horror movie.
I'm excited. Because he's a performer. He's an actor, isn't he? Like...
Yeah, Dave. Yeah. The others aren't. I'm surprised he's got the whole band involved in whatever this is.
Can we just wait, dude?
Why did he do this?
I don't know.
But it looks fun.
Here you go, man. Finish the song.
You did.
Like... It looks pretty cool, though. Like, it doesn't... It looks fun.
It does look fun. It's out in February. It's out fairly soon. They made the movie in secret when they were recording their last album, Medicine at Midnight, which is not one of their better albums.
But are the songs from that album in this film?
I think the song playing over this trailer is from that album, I think. I mean, it's fine. It's a fine album, but I've preferred their other more recent work. But it looks bananas.
Yeah.
And it looks like they first announced it without putting a trailer out, and I was a bit like, oh, that'll just be sort of it'll look really crappy and really, like it won't be a proper movie. But that looks like a movie.
Yeah. It looks like fun as well.
It does look like good fun, good, gory, weird fun.
Because also, I think because their videos used to be quite cinematic, I think probably they're all pretty good at acting together.
Definitely.
Yeah. Ooh,
yeah,
exciting.
no, they seem like they're all kind of involved. So, yeah, I'm into it. Right, I've got another one here for you that I think you'll have watched this trailer, so you can decide if you want to skip it or not. I'll just send you the link. Because you mentioned this film earlier, so I'm assuming you've seen the trailer.
I have not seen the trailer.
Okay, so shall we see it?
Okay, so this is the trailer for The Northman, and is Robert Eggers and Anya Taylor-Joy.
So before we press play, you have liked one Robert Eggers movie and hated one Robert Eggers movie so far in his career. So I want you to watch this trailer and decide whether this is more likely to be a love or a hate.
How many movies has he done?
He's in that folk horror documentary, by the way, a handful of times, talking about why he likes folk horror. So
okay.
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So The Northman. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Oof. Oh, Skarsgård. Hello.
See if you can spot Bjork as well when she pops up.
Oh, Jesus. Is that...
It's Willem Dafoe. Ethan Hawke as the king, Nicole Kidman as the queen.
Okay. Oh, just... Oh, the father has been... Oh.
Bjork.
Ah, it is Bjork.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, he doesn't last for very long.
No, I don't think Ethan Hawke's in it much.
That's a shame. Like, you don't see him very often, and then he only lasts like 5 minutes.
Well, I've got another Ethan Hawke movie for you in a minute, so don't worry.
Visionary director Robert Eggers.
Yes, please.
Like, of course I'm going to watch it, because Anya. Like...
That bit where he catches a spear and throws it back is pretty good.
Oh, is that what he did? Let me go back a second. Because I was like, why is he doing that weird dance? Oh yeah. Ah, he does catch a spear. Wow.
Yeah. I love it when people do that. There's a bit in Hawkeye where he catches a Molotov cocktail and throws it back. Yeah. And I love that as well.
There's a lot of shouting.
It's definitely that kind of a movie.
I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it. but I will watch it because I am in love with Anya Taylor-Joy.
And Skarsgård, surely.
I guess a Skarsgård as well.
Oh, we all love a Skarsgård. You got Willem Dafoe in there.
They're like breathing like rabbits, these Skarsgårds.
Yeah, you can't escape the Skarsgård. No. All right. I've got another one for you. I think this is one that you're not going to watch, but you can tell me.
Okay.
This is maybe my most anticipated movie of the year.
The most anticipated movie of the year. Okay.
For George, personally.
So this film is just called X. It's an A24 film. So I guess it's going to be terrifying.
And
probably
it is
about a child with long hair and long nails.
No, it's the return to horror filmmaking of Ty West, a director who's made 2 of my favourite horror movies, The Innkeepers and The House of the Devil. And similarly to Robert Eggers, he's often described as something of a visionary. So you can do it.
Okay, a visionary.
A visionary. Right, you ready?
I like it. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Farmer's daughter, take one.
Oh, I like her.
Yeah, from Pitch Perfect, right?
All the best people are.
Oh, it's Goth.
Mia Goth. Mia Goth. And her Kid Cudi's in there. I spotted him briefly.
Oh, I like the look of this film. It's proper like 1970s.
He's very good, this director, at making movies look a period appropriate.
Looking for a place to stay.
Yes, sir.
I would not stay in that guy's place. No. Like, just from his head, I would not stay in there.
My wife
So,
was next door, so I would appreciate a
No.
little discretion.
are they going to have...
Come inside.
Oh, they're doing a porn film.
I want to be in
They're
the
making an adult movie.
Sorry,
hence
they're
the
making an
title-
adult movie.
Change midway through.
Hence the title X.
Okay.
There's no telling what he might do.
No. 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 No!
You don't want to leave, do you?
People's eyes are gonna pop out of their damn skulls
No,
when
but-
they see this.
Up. Jesus! No, I don't think I could watch this.
What?
Like, there's too
You
much...
alright?
Screaming.
There's too much... Oh, Jesus! There's too much, like, naked violence. I could watch the first 20 minutes.
What do you think is on it?
Let's see what goddamn fucked up horror picture.
Oh, so it's become like everything has been filmed, hasn't it? Oh, is it going to be like Meta, where they actually go in there to make an adult video, but they're in with it and they're making a
be.
real horror film?
They end up making a genuine horror movie.
Yeah.
By mistake. Could be. Right.
But no, I don't. You know me. I don't like slasher films because when you're in a shower and you're naked and somebody slashes you up, it's just not my thing.
I don't know if it is a slasher film though. It's not clear from that what the actual where the violence is going to come from, because it's just two old people. What's the threat?
I wouldn't go to that guy's house. So your 4 recommendations of the year, your more anticipated films are the Bob's Burgers movie,
Yes,
Studio
please.
666,
It
The
looks pretty good.
Northman,
Yeah.
and X. I think the Bob's Burgers movie is definitely the Northman. I'll definitely watch it.
Are you ready for a couple?
666.
Are you ready for a couple of trailers for movies that look stupid and bad?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know if you've seen this before.
No. Moonfall.
Yeah. We don't necessarily have to watch this entire trailer, but just watch some of it and see what you make of the
Okay.
idea of this film. Okay? 3, 2,
Okay.
1. You ready?
No. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
If you're watching this, then you know by now a huge problem is heading our way. An emergency meeting is being called at our usual place immediately. 3 bagels.
I've made a shocking discovery.
He's made a shocking discovery, Alex. What do you think it is?
Immediately.
Well, NASA and I aren't really on speaking terms these days.
Oh, that'll change.
Who's that guy?
When you
Which
come
one?
with them,
The thin
The-
guy or the young guy?
The thin guy.
Patrick
The
Wilson.
yeah.
He's been in a lot.
Not crazy!
Insidious, The Conjuring. I know him from horror movies.
It's too late to stop.
Oh, it's Don't Look Up, but serious.
You knew all this was happening
Well,
before NASA.
it's Don't Look Up, but if instead of a comet, it was the moon.
Oh, the moon.
Intelligent and
The moon's going to fall and hit the Earth.
we're planning a mission.
But
So
also
it's
the
like,
moon is
don't-
hollow.
I'm asking you for your help.
Say yes, Brian.
When did Halle Berry started just accepting horrible roles for her?
I don't know.
Like, she's a great actor. Like, why are they...
Gravity wave?
Will it surprise you if I tell you this is the same director as Independence Day?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Is it supposed to be a comedy?
Who knows? I can't tell. I think it's meant to have that character, the nerdy guy who's in
Yeah.
Game of Thrones. I think he's meant to be funny, but I
Yeah.
don't think he is.
But the music is also deceiving because the music is quite happy and...
Well, yeah, it's Creedence Clearwater Revival, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's on airplane mode.
I wonder if it's gonna be good.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, it
It's
might
about-
be.
The moon is hollow and has an evil alien inside it, and it's going to land and hit the Earth.
I don't know.
Okay. I've got one that I need you to watch because I can't believe it's a real film.
Okay.
And it's did you watch like 30 Rock where they had fake movies in them and stuff?
No.
It looks like a fake film that somebody's made up, but it's actually real. In my opinion, I want to see what you think of it.
Okay. So the film is called Marry Me.
Yeah. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Before we watch this trailer, I want you to tell me what you think this movie is going to be about based on the title.
Two happy girls in a dance studio. I guess
you're
it's
looking
going
at
to
the
be
first
about...
frame of the trailer.
Eh?
Nothing. No, go on. Go.
I guess it's going to be about somebody... Oh, I've seen the trailer. I just looked Jennifer Lopez. I can't believe Owen Wilson is in this film.
Yeah, right?
Like,
so what's
Owen
it about?
Wilson. And I want to watch it again. This
Okay.
trailer, like, is about... I think that from what I remember, Jennifer Lopez is a singer and she has to marry somebody on stage and then that person doesn't marry her and then Owen Wilson steps in or something. Yeah?
Yeah.
And also, Owen Wilson, great actor. Jennifer Lopez, she's not bad and she keeps being in horrible things.
Yeah, like remember when she was in Hustlers?
Yeah, she was great in it.
She's amazing in it. Deserved like Oscar sort of
Yeah.
buzz and stuff. Like so good. But let's have a look at this trailer. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, let's do it again from the top.
The Marry Me concert tour is something you will not
Like,
want to miss.
it might be a commentary on today's society and it might be really good.
Maybe it's one of those movies that comes out and is secretly amazing. Could
Yeah.
happen.
I've got my daughter.
But look, he's
Like,
just a
Sarah
teacher.
Silverman
He's
is
trying
in
to
it.
do his thing. I love Sarah Silverman. He lives in a sort of some kind of attic.
Yeah.
Doing here.
Okay, let's go. We only have 5 minutes.
He's in it from Moonfall.
Yeah.
Give me your phone.
But it feels like we're back in the 2000s. You know, Jennifer
Yeah.
Lopez is doing bad films. She's back with Ben Affleck. Like, I'm really confused about 2020.
I'm told that 20 million people are supposed to watch as we take our vows. They say if you want
This is so
something
weird,
different,
like,
you
she-
have to do something different.
She says to this guy with a thing, marry me. Which is bizarre.
Doesn't make any sense.
Makes no sense.
What's going on?
Okay.
Also, I don't think that guy's funny. Why is he in 2 movies we just watched trying to be funny?
I don't
Two
know.
trailers.
He's got a British accent and, you know. He's on Valentine's Day, so is it going to be a love film?
I mean, yeah, because they're going to end up realising that they do love each other despite... I don't understand.
7,000 people are like, he looks like he's in math club.
I am.
Why is Owen Wilson doing this film?
Hanging with you guys today, I don't know. It made me
Does he
feel
need
kinda-
money?
Are you asking?
I don't think
Does
so.
Jennifer Lopez need money?
No, definitely not.
Is this... I don't understand.
It does
Maybe
feel like
he's-
it was made 20 years ago and somehow is only just now coming out.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes it not that is how many smartphones are in the trailer, but other than that, it could easily be from 2002.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we left smart 6 weeks ago.
Oh.
Oh, I
they're
think
in
we left
love.
Smart 6 weeks ago.
Oh.
Do you think
I think
you're
we
a
have-
fan? Some fan? No, I'm not a fan. Just, well, I mean, I am now.
I don't...
Just say yes. Just say yes.
I don't know. Like, it might be incredible. Like, it has to be, because Owen Wilson cannot do these films. Or maybe sometimes it's just nice to do, like, maybe I'm too judgmental. Maybe sometimes it's just nice to do a film that it's not too hard to act. I don't know.
Yeah, and you get a massive paycheck at the end of it.
Yeah.
That's probably decent. I
And maybe there's
suppose.
something about it that is good.
Maybe it's subversive in some way that we don't yet know.
Yeah. We should watch it.
Sarah Silverman's in it, so I'll probably watch it. But I don't know.
I don't know. Great.
I've got one final preview trailer to show you, if you can take it.
Okay.
This is an Ethan Hawke movie.
Oh, Ethan, you're back. He's back.
I think you're really gonna like it.
The Black Phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
I'll be home in the morning.
Where you going?
I'm staying over at Susie's tonight.
No. And now you run away. Kid, run away. Run away. Run away. No.
What's
don't
happening
get him
here?
anything.
What's happening?
There's a guy by a van, dropped a load of eggs. The kid has to run away. Run away. Do not go next to the van. Oh. No, you don't want to see a magic trick. Oh my goodness gracious me.
I have an announcement to make. One of our students, Finney Blake, was abducted.
There's a phone. He's going to phone the phone.
Does it work?
Oh God, Ethan Hawke.
Since I was a kid.
I'll scream. I'll scratch your face.
This face?
Oh. It's terrifying.
Daddy, I had a dream about it.
What happened?
How is it ringing, Alex? It's not connected.
Hello?
Hello?
Don't hang up.
Who are you?
But Jesus! Who are you? Sorry.
You're getting out of here.
Please let the dreams be real.
See the one in front of you?
No, I can't watch this. This is terrifying.
But it's such a cool idea for a film.
Absolutely.
Or interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like, these kids get adopted and then all the victims help them.
Yeah, all the previous victims of this sort of child killer tried to help this one kid escape.
Someday I should stand up.
But it's too terrifying. Like, Ethan Hawke is terrifying. Also, what does he want to do with these kids?
Well, he's a serial killer.
What? Oh my God, he's going to wake up. No, thank you. Sayonara.
The Black Phone, then, are you gonna give it a go?
The Black Phone. No, I'm not gonna give it a go. You can give it a go and explain it to me, and I'll watch it through you.
Okay, I'll tell you all about it when I see it. It came out last year to critics. It got a lot of reviews, and it got absolutely praised all the way to the bank. If you see what I mean. People loved it, and it was meant to be out in February, and they've recently pushed it back to June, I think, which again speaks to them. Yeah, this year. So it was meant to be out February. It's meant to be out next month, and it's been pushed back a couple of months, which is annoying, but I think means that they have faith in people liking it because it's probably going to make more money coming out at that point in the year. So yeah, and it stars Ethan Hawke, and it's directed by Scott Derrickson, who made the first Doctor Strange movie and the film Sinister, which is often incorrectly named the scariest film of all time. But yeah. Well,
which one is the scariest film of all time?
Well, it's down to personal opinion, isn't it? But they did this scientific study where they made people watch a load of movies and then tracked their heart rate. And because Sinister has got probably more jump scares in it than any other film, people's heart rates go up more because they're getting scared through jump scares. But it's only the scariest film of all time if you think that jump scares are the scariest way to scare somebody. And I think psychological terror.
Yeah,
that creeping dread is scarier. That something that keeps you thinking long after the movie finished.
Yeah,
which Sinister doesn't achieve that. But it's impossible to, I guess, do. It's much more difficult to quantify that scientifically. So anyway, it's a good film.
For
Sinister,
you, which is the scariest movie of all time?
For me personally, I don't know, Halloween.
Okay.
Halloween's really scary. The Silence of the Lambs, even though a lot of people say it's not a horror film, is really scary. The Exorcist, I think might be there. The Ring, the original Japanese Ringu. Yeah, not Sinister. Sinister's just things going rah and jumping out at you. It's a good movie. It's fun movie, and I hope the Black Phone's good. The Black Phone looks more interesting than Sinister, so I'm intrigued. I'm excited to see it. So that's a little look at a little discussion around some films that we'll definitely be covering as the year goes on Culture Bucket. The Bob's Burgers movie, Studio 666, the Foo Fighters movie, the new Robert Eggers movie, The Northman, the new Ty West movie X, the new Roland Emmerich something, Moonfall, Marry Me. That's a movie, and the Black Phone, which is the new Scott.
I will definitely watch Marry Me though. Like I think I'm quite
interested. We're going to do an entire special on Marry Me.
Why? Why did they do it? Well, I guess if they offer you in like crazy amounts of money, I think you would do anything.
Yeah, that's absolutely
any
true.
film, not anything, any film.
That's true. Everyone has a price.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Our top 5.
So, let's get into our top 5 for the day. Our top 5.
Please.
Steven Spielberg movies. The probably largely uncontested title of greatest living filmmaker falls on his head. Certainly in terms of popular entertainment, he's up in the top tier along with Scorsese, who's a bit more adult oriented. Yeah, he's been there for our entire lives, making movies, entertaining us.
Yeah,
and sort of, yeah, being the guy. So. It's a weird list to make, this one, because he's made so many films over his career.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to know necessarily what angle to take, what to leave in, what to take off, etc.
He has made a lot of films, but I realized that he's not one of my favorites. So I don't really. It was quite easy to make this list because I know what I like of him. And I know what I don't like of him. So
yeah, I would find it odd almost if somebody said that he was their favourite director, because he makes his films are so varied.
Yeah.
And the only thing that really connects them together often is, well, you can get like people talk about the themes of fatherhood being very important in a lot of his movies, etc. But I think the thing that connects all his films together is just that he is a master of the craft, and no matter what genre he's making, he's able to kind of.
He's good at what he does.
Oh, fantastically. Other than comedy, he's always struggled with, I think. But other than that, he's pretty impressive. So am I going to start off?
Yeah.
Okay. So before I get into my number 5, just a very quick, not very quick necessarily, but a special mention up top for a film that isn't in my top 5, but I couldn't argue isn't his best film. It just isn't one that I'm likely to watch again or many times, but is probably the most important thing he's ever contributed to the world, and that is, and I don't know if it's in your list, but Schindler's List. I think I wanted to just mention up top. I'm not claiming that any of the movies I'm about to talk about are better than Schindler's List, because I think that Schindler's List almost transcends being a film and is more an important historical document.
Yeah,
and is just a piece of art that will stick around for an extremely long time as a sort of testament to this horrific tragedy that we all is so sort of recent in our history.
Because I made you watch Schindler's List, didn't I?
Yes, you did. And I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
No.
But it's an incredible, like, it's a masterpiece. It's one of the most incredible things I've ever done. Having said that, my 5th favourite Steven Spielberg movie is one of his lesser known films. I think technically the first film he ever directed.
Yeah.
And was one that I watched. We had on VHS when I was a kid, and I watched repeatedly as I was growing up, and it definitely influenced. Was probably the first big influence on my love of film, and particularly my love of thrillers and horror movies and stuff. And that is the film Duel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've seen Duel?
I have not seen Duel, but I know what it is. It's iconic.
Yeah, it's a very simple movie about a man on a road trip on his own who annoys a truck driver and then has to spend the next hour and a half trying to survive this psychotic truck driver as it attempts to run him off the road. And it's a lot of ways almost a precursor to Jaws in terms of like this truck is completely stripped of its humanity. You never see the driver of the truck. It's the truck itself that is the monster that's trying to take him out. And the way Spielberg, this early in his career, the way he was able to build tension and create these incredible, exciting, tense moments with what was probably an incredibly limited budget is pretty impressive. And it's one of the key films in my history of like film watching, etc. So it had to be on the list in at number 5.
Yeah,
Duel.
Iconic.
Yeah, absolutely iconic. I mean, when was it made? It was
like
1971.
Yeah.
1971, starring Dennis Weaver, and it's just great. It's so. If you've never seen Duel, then watch it because it's special, really special film.
Yeah, definitely, and different. I don't think something like that has ever been made again.
No, not that. Certainly, I don't think today you'd have something that pure be made. Certainly not by a filmmaker of this caliber.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. What's your number 5?
My number 5. So for me, Steven Spielberg is all about adventure, and I think apart from one, they're all like the adventure things that Steven Spielberg is so good at portraying. And so my number 5 is an Indiana Jones entry, and
Nice.
is 1989, The Last Crusade.
Cool.
Yes, I really like this one. It's about Indy's father going missing. Indy's father being played by the iconic Sean Connery. He goes missing, and while he's trying to pursue whilst he's trying to find the Holy Grail, and it's set in 1938, so the Nazis are present. It's a really fun movie. Is full of little like plot twists, and I just love it, and I watched it so many times, and I think is a really good Indiana Jones. He made 4. Steven Spielberg, he directed 4 Indiana Jones. 3 are definitely incredible, and one of them should go in the garbage.
Yeah, I agree. Temple of Doom is not very good.
It was like I never felt so violated because I grew up with Indiana Jones, loving Indiana Jones, and I just couldn't believe that was being made.
Yeah. Now, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is, I think, the first time I remember going to see a movie and being genuinely upset when it wasn't good.
Yeah. It was like the real, like, oh, this is real life.
Yeah. It's like, this is awful.
This is awful.
Why is this happening?
So bad. But The Last Crusade, just so much fun, and I just I don't know, I loved the scene where in the cave at the end, and they have to figure out which one is the Holy Grail, and in the end is the one that the most, the cup is the one that is the one that you at least expect. It's just a fun film to watch and really great. Of course, there's a lot of stereotypes in this film, like in all the Indiana Jones films, but they were made in a different time.
And they were sort of based on adventure serials from an even earlier time.
Yeah,
not to entirely defend its approach to. I think Temple of Doom is the one of the 3 that people have the biggest issue with, and I think it's hard to argue that movie isn't offensive in a lot of ways.
Yep, it's very offensive.
But that's Temple of Doom. I think Last Crusade is, still not perfect, but not quite as unpleasant in its depiction of indigenous people as as the Temple of Doom is.
Yeah. And that's my number 5.
Good, a good call. I like it. My number 4 is a film that I doubt is on your list, and is one of his earlier movies, one that I watched a lot when I was growing up, one that I bond with my brother over in a big way because it's within the realm of the sort of films that he likes, and is one of his big science fiction films.
Oh.
But not the one that is most popular for, because
Not
I actually
E.T..
I don't like it. Do you like E.T.?
Never seen it.
I don't like it. I think it's
Never seen it.
too dull, and I don't know. I don't like E.T. But what I do adore is a little movie called Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yes.
Have you seen that one?
Yes and no. I watched it when I was really no, like I'm pretty sure my sister loved it, and I watched it when I was really little. So but I've only seen it like, you know, when you see something when you're little. So I know its existence. I know certain things that happen in it, but I think I watched it like when I was little because my sister, I think, loved it, and so it was one of her films. Because when was that made?
1977.
Yeah, so I think
it's so much more, because E.T. came out a few years later and sort of was the biggest movie of all time, I think, when it came out for a while, and is about this family, and it's about small town family encounters an alien, and it's all about the emotional connection between this alien and the boy. Close Encounters of the Third Kind is it's much more lacking in emotion, and it's much more about this cast of characters. It kind of goes across the entire world, but mainly follows Richard Dreyfuss, who's astonishing in the movie, who has an encounter with an unidentified flying object, a UFO, and then kind of becomes obsessed with trying to work out what's going on and track down the truth. And it also, within that, is mixed in with all these scenes of various governments around the world also dealing with these UFO encounters that are coming around. And it's the kind of movie that wouldn't get made today. It's exceptionally long. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes long. It is all over the place in terms of what it's about and what it's doing. There's points in it where it's really, really scary. There's an abduction scene in it that is terrifying. Like really, really scary. And then there's just scenes of family drama. There's scenes. There's this great scene where Richard Dreyfuss makes a model of this mountain out of mashed potato. It's a really iconic bit because he's getting these visions of where he needs to go, and it's this mountain, and he kind of eventually realizes this is why he keeps seeing this image. It's got this beautiful visual effect. It's happy to not give the audience what they expect. Like, you're not necessarily going to see as much of an alien as you expect to see going into the film, but it's all about how these UFOs impact on the people that sort of see them. And I love it. And me and my brother more than me, but both of us have always been like interested in UFOs, and I'm not really much of a believer in UFOs today for various reasons, but I grew up being interested in the mysterious and the strange and the unexplainable, and I think Close Encounters of the Third Kind had a big impact on that, and I just love it. And also, Richard Dreyfuss is an actor that we don't see enough of.
No.
I think, but this movie and another Spielberg movie, which I might talk about in a bit, is Spielberg really knew how to use Richard Dreyfuss in a big way. I love it. I love Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's great, and probably slightly, it's not forgotten. It's still considered a classic and an iconic movie, but it's never mentioned first because E.T. always gets mentioned first.
Yeah.
But I think I prefer Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
But you're right. I don't think we see enough of Richard Dreyfuss.
No, I mean, he made a lot of movies. I think not enough iconic. I think I don't know if he didn't pick, because like I discovered a Steven Spielberg movie when I was making this list that I had never heard of, that he's in, and John Goodman and Holly Hunter in as well, called Always.
I was like, what film is that?
I was like, what on earth is this movie? And I looked at the plot and I was like, what is going on in this film? What is happening here? Yeah. I think that's a Richard Dreyfuss, Steven Spielberg film that I'm not likely to watch.
No. Cool. So my number 4 is the 1991 film Hook.
Oh, I like it. I'm glad you put Hook in.
I love Hook. Hook is amazing, is iconic and incredible, and the cast is amazing in it. You know, there's Robin Williams, Dustin Hoffman, Julia Roberts, Bob Hoskins, Maggie Smith. It's just an incredible cast of actors, and it's just he just portrayed the story really well. Peter Pan is an adult who then goes back, so he's not really like, it's a retelling of the story, isn't it?
Well, it's meant to be like, what if Peter Pan left Neverland and grew up and forgot about Neverland?
Yeah.
So it's not it's less an adaptation of Peter Pan and more an imagining of what a sequel might be.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's why I like it, and I think it's great, and it's fun, it's entertaining. The scenes with the food are so much magic in this film that I just love it. So
It's weird because people hate it.
Really?
It's always considered one of his absolute worst movies.
I love it.
I also really love it. I didn't put it in my top 5, but I really like it. And like when I'm thinking of it now, I can't think of anything about it that I don't like.
No, I love everything about it. I think it's just a fun film and really well done. I think the problem is just people think that Steven Spielberg is this like incredible filmmaker that does incredible films like Jaws and E.T., and this maybe is a bit of a joke, but it's not. It's a great film, you know, because maybe people consider this a lesser film that he shouldn't have not done, you know, but I don't think this is a lesser film. I think this is a great film.
The look of Hook is lively indeed, but Steven Spielberg directs on autopilot here, giving in too quickly to his sentimental, syrupy qualities.
Wow.
Do you want to know what Roger Ebert thought of it? Because he always seems to dislike movies that I like.
Yeah.
Despite people loving them. So Roger Ebert said this: "The sad thing about the screenplay for Hook is that it's so correctly titled. This whole construction is really nothing more than a hook on which to hang a new version of the Peter Pan story. No effort is made to involve Peter's magic in the changed world he now inhabits, and little thought has been given to Captain Hook's extraordinary persistence in wanting to revisit the events of the past. The failure in Hook is its inability to reimagine the material to find something new, fresh or urgent to do with the Peter Pan myth. Lacking that, Spielberg should simply have remade the original story straight for this generation." I don't agree with anything that he says there.
Me neither. That's absolutely baloney.
It's one of those reviews where you want it, they just want it to be a different movie.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like they're criticising it because it's not an adaptation of Peter Pan. Yeah. I don't know. I like Hook. I don't understand why people don't like it, because it's it is very sort of cloyingly sweet at times.
Yeah. It's lovely.
But I like that about it. I like movies that are very overly sentimental. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't know. Apparently, people criticise the sword fighting choreography as well. Who cares?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as a kid. I enjoyed it as an adult. I think it's fun and it's a good adaptation, and I like it.
And I think you're right to like it, and I agree with you.
Thank you.
Right, my number 3 is a 1981 film, 10 years earlier than Hook, in the same franchise that you've already discussed, Indiana Jones, but I've gone with 1981's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That's so weird.
Why?
Because that's my number 3 as well.
Ah ha ha ha!
I put 2 Indiana Jones films because I love them so much, and my number 3 is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Well, it's an amazing piece of work.
It's so good. So good.
It's George Lucas and Steven Spielberg when they were at the absolute height of their powers, coming together to make their version of the adventure serials that they loved watching so much when they were children. Yeah. And just managing, because they know him, to cast the perfect actor for the role in Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm.
And it all comes together for one of the most exciting adventure movies of all time. Raiders of the Lost Ark is just brilliant. It's iconic.
So much fun.
It's there's very little you can say about it that hasn't already been said. But Harrison Ford's role as Indiana Jones. I mean, there's a reason why this one was called Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then all of the sequels are called Indiana Jones because it is all about him. The opening sequence where he goes into temple to discover the missing golden idol, and Alfred Molina betrays him.
Yeah.
Give me the idol, I'll give you the whip, kind of thing. It sets you up perfectly, and then he escapes. The theme tune kicks in. John Williams creating another iconic piece of music there, and it's just great. There's a reason why now Harrison Ford, 80 years old, is currently making another Indiana Jones movie.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh,
Indiana Jones 5 is coming.
Okay, I hope there's none of the bullcrap that they gave us in Indiana Jones 4.
So do I. I don't know what it's going to be like. I've got my expectations for that are zero. I expect nothing from it, and I'll either be pleasantly surprised or just be like, "Yep, it was bad, and I thought it would be bad." It's not Spielberg. It's I think it's James Mangold who made Logan.
Okay.
And like with Logan, he successfully managed to make a really good action movie about an aging hero who was losing his powers. So maybe if he was able to do Logan successfully, maybe he can pull something out of the bag with Indiana Jones 5. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is playing the female lead.
I think I remember you telling me then. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I hope. I don't have any hopes. No, because there's when I left when I watched Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull and I left this, it was just really disappointing.
Yeah, it's a terrible film.
Have you ever seen that episode of South Park of the kids coming out of the cinema and then being having these like visions of George Lucas sexually assaulting Indiana Jones and just being more...
seen that. But
you haven't seen it? Like, no, that's exactly how I was like...
South Park, but it sounds about right.
Oh, but you should watch that just watch some scenes of that episode, because it's just like, that's exactly like all the kids that grew up with Indiana Jones felt when that horrible film came out.
Yeah. I agree. But that's my number 3, and your number 3. So my number 2 then...
Yeah.
Is a 1975 movie. It stars Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, and Robert Shaw. It created the idea of the summer blockbuster. It made generations of people terrified to go in the water. Yeah. It is, of course, the perfect. Well, actually, not the perfect blockbuster movie, because that's my number 1 pick. But it's one of the best horror films ever made. It's never considered a horror film, but it's about a monstrous shark terrorizing a community of people, and it is so scary. Of course, it's Jaws.
Yeah.
There we go. Another iconic
I need to watch it again.
Maybe you will. Maybe you will be watching it again.
Because I don't. Yeah, I think I need to watch it and enjoy it, because I didn't enjoy it when I watched it. I don't know why.
No, neither do I. I think it's great. I think the thing that this and my number 1 pick, actually, and a lot of his films get right about blockbuster filmmaking, is that it takes its time setting up the characters so that when you then put them in peril, you care about it. You care about Chief Brody in this movie because you care about his family, and you care about the fact that he isn't an islander and he's moved here to kind of be with his family and give his family the life that they want, but he doesn't really belong there. He feels like an outsider, and it kind of sets it up so well for his conflict with the mayor, who feels like he doesn't understand why the town has to stay open, and then Chief Brody doesn't understand why the mayor doesn't realise that if the town stays open, people are going to die. And then you got Richard Dreyfuss turning up as a marine biologist who's just this wonderfully funny sort of nerd, and the way that they team him up with Robert Shaw's professional shark hunter. Quint is also wonderful. Like, the best scene in the movie is probably the scene where the 3 of them are on the boat at night comparing war comparing their scars that they've got, which doesn't even have a shark in it, but it's just such a perfect scene. I love it. I love Jaws. I think it's a nearly nigh on perfect film, and it kind of, to this day you still get shark movies constantly being made, and I think without Jaws doing what it did in 1975, you would not have the hundreds and hundreds of shark movies that have come since, and I think that is a testament to the power of this film. And none of them, there's never been another. There's been sequels to Jaws. There's been various other shark movies that are good. The Shallows is fairly good. 47 Meters Down is fairly good.
Have you seen The Shallows?
Yeah.
That's the one with Blake Lively?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh.
Why?
Oh, no. It's a bit one of those films, like, I don't know, I just never give it any. I thought, well, it's about sharks, so I'd never really.
I know, The Shallows is cool. It's Blake Lively stuck on this sort of outjutting clock of rock.
Yeah.
While a shark circles her and she tries to work out how to survive. No, it's a good film. And I think that the water tide's coming in, so she's going to get sort of, it's good. Yeah, no, the Shallows is good. But it's not a patch on Jaws. None of them are. None of these shark movies are anywhere near as good as Jaws. To the point now where a lot of them have stopped trying and they just try to make them as silly as possible, like the Sharknado movies, etc. Which I will not ever watch. But yeah, no, Jaws. There it is. What's your number two?
So my number two, I've put a film that you mentioned before. Like it's like I said, I've watched many of his films, but I can't put them on a top 5 list. But this is an incredible film, an incredible homage to cinema and view of what was happening at the time. And my number two is 1993 Schindler's List.
A good pick.
Yeah, an incredible film. We talked about it before. I made you watch it. I can't remember why I made you watch it though.
We did top 5 villains and you picked Ralph Fiennes from this movie.
Yes. Ralph Fiennes is horrendous in this film.
Yes.
And this film is amazing.
All the more horrendous because he's a real person.
Yes.
Who existed.
Yeah. And this film is amazing. It's 3 hours of just incredibleness, and it's about when German occupied Poland during World War III. Oskar Schindler becomes concerned for the Jewish workforce and starts making a list to save, unfortunately, only some. But it's a great film, really not his genre in a way, because he never really did anything like that. And in a way, you kind of see how versatile of a director he is. And now that you told me that he's going to make like something about himself, I think that might be quite good to watch, because I think it could be different from usual Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Seth Rogen's playing his uncle.
Oh, Seth Rogen.
Yeah. Michelle Williams is playing his mum.
Oh, we don't see Seth Rogen very often anymore, do we?
No, because he's just become a sort of weed baron.
Yeah, I love it.
Sure. I can't stand anything to do with that culture, but it's fine. So
I think we have the same number one.
Probably we do.
Because it's the best.
It's my favourite movie, and even though it's been number one on another list we did way back, I feel like it's long enough now that I'm going to put it on this list, because I can't put any other Spielberg movie as my number one.
No.
It is, of course, Jurassic Park.
Same. It is the best film he's ever made. It is the best. Like, Schindler's List is incredible, but Jurassic Park, if you think about Steven Spielberg, that's just the best, isn't it?
It's just everything coming together at once. His ability to make you care about characters is elevated by the fact that he's got actors like Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill, and Laura Dern as his kind of core trio, backed up by people like Richard Attenborough. It's just And Samuel Jackson is in there. Wayne Knight is in there. The cast of actors he pulled together for this are amazing. He really makes you care about all of them. The child actors he got were good, and like when they are in peril, you genuinely are scared for them.
Yeah.
And then he managed to, you know, as good as Jaws the shark is in Jaws, the dinosaurs in this, like the velociraptors in this movie, are all-time movie monsters. They are so terrifying. The sequence in the visitor centre when they're stalking the people is such a great. The scene in the kitchen is like it doesn't. You forget how scary it was the first time you saw it now because you've seen it so many times. But that sequence in the kitchen where the kids are hiding from the raptors is a masterclass in suspense building, as is the sequence when the power goes out in the park and they're trapped outside the T-Rex enclosure in the two cars, and you see the water. It's just so good. And he knew that the animatronics for the dinosaurs were limited, and he knew that the CGI effects, because it was one of the first movies to use CGI special effects in a big way, were going to be limited as well. So he constructed the film in a way where he could build tension and terror and suspense without showing much of the dinosaurs, and it means that when you do see them, it's so much more effective. It's a masterpiece. It's my favourite film of all time, and I just love Jurassic Park so much.
It's so good. It's amazing. It just the first time that watching it as a kid and being interested in dinosaurs and just the world that he created. And the first time when they get to the island and they stop the car and you don't see the dinosaurs and they're shocked and you want to see them, you really, really want to see them, and then their faces are like that, and then you see this like plane with these what are they called, the ones with the big necks, the long necks,
Diplodocus, Brontosaurus, Brachiosaurus. There's Brachiosaurus, Diplodocus, and Brontosaurus. One of them it's been proven isn't a real dinosaur, but I can't remember which one.
But yeah, I don't know. And it was just like beautiful. Oh, it's so it just every child's dream being, becoming real, watching dinosaurs and seeing them like that. And even if it's not accurate or they're not, it doesn't matter. It's amazing.
Yeah, they're monsters. They're just the Jurassic Park monsters now. It doesn't matter that dinosaurs wouldn't necessarily have looked like that.
Yeah, and the fact that the velociraptors are actual, don't look at her in the eyes because she gets angry because she's angry. One of the, it's just like it's so good. It's so good.
But even stuff like in the opening scene where they're at the dig site and Sam Neill describes to that little kid how a raptor would hunt with that little claw, and he pulls the claw across the kid's belly and stuff and terrifies the kid. I just love he sets up Sam Neill's character so well, like Alan Grant as being this kind of grumpy, moody guy who doesn't care about children, doesn't care about people, just wants to and then Laura Dern. It's just it's perfect. It's a perfect movie.
So good.
I adore it. I really want to one day see it in a cinema. I've never seen it in a cinema, and I hope they do another re-release of it at some point so I can go and watch it because I just absolutely adore it. So there we go. Both are. So I'll run through my list one more time. You can run through your list, and then I've got a couple of honourable mentions that didn't make my list, but that I like. So my top 5 was number 5, Duel. Number 4, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Number 3, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Number 2, Jaws. And number 1, Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Mine is number 5, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Number 4, Hook. Number 3, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Number 2, Schindler's List. And number 1, Jurassic Park.
An equally good list. I love it. So I've got a couple of honourable mentions. Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
West Side Story, which is obviously I've talked about that earlier, but is up there for me as one of his best movies. His War of the Worlds adaptation, not perfect. Tom Cruise is not very good in it, but in terms of blockbusters, special effects, spectacle, science fiction stuff, it's a pretty fun time. And as you've already mentioned it, but Hook as well is on my honourable mentions list. Have you got any to mention?
Not really. Well, I enjoyed watching Amistad not enjoyed. I liked Amistad. I thought that was good. But the rest, not really. And also, I haven't watched Amistad for a very long time, so I'm not really sure if it's actually. But I remember when watching
I've never seen Amistad.
Oh no.
No, there's so many of his films I've never seen.
But yeah,
he's just made so many movies. So homework. What was your list again?
You've seen them all.
But have I seen them all recently?
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Hook, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Schindler's List, Jurassic Park. We could watch Amistad. It's a bit sad. Well, sad and not sad. Like, it's about this a boat of slaves being taken to America, and
Alex, it's 3 hours long.
Is based on the events on 1839 aboard the Spanish slave ship La Amistad, which the tribesmen abducted for the slave trade managed to gain control of their captors to ship off the coast of Cuba. So it's very long, and also, there's some scenes that are pretty like when they're on the boat, and but
I haven't watched The Last Crusade in quite a long time.
You wanna watch that?
I'd rather watch that than Amistad.
Okay, you can watch The Last Crusade.
Okay, unless you really want me to watch Amistad.
No. I don't. It's good. It's got good cast. It's got Digimon Honsu, Matthew McConaughey, Anthony Hopkins, Morgan Freeman, Pete Postlethwaite. Oh, what? Stellan Skarsgård? Oh my goodness, he appeared. But
maybe I'll see. I'll think about both of them and see which one I watch. I'll watch one of them.
Okay.
I'll watch the trailer for Amistad and see if. Well, you haven't seen Duel, you haven't really seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and you haven't really seen Jaws. So I'll let you take your pick from those three.
I would like to watch Jaws.
Okay, Jaws it is. Sounds good.
Because I feel like maybe that's the one that I gave very little time to.
Yeah, that's fair. Join us next week when we'll be doing a deep dive into one of the best movies of last year that we both adored and have a lot to talk about. Spider-Man No Way Home. So if you haven't seen it yet, if you're one of the 4 people in the world that hasn't seen Spider-Man No Way Home yet, make sure you watch it before next week, because we will be talking about all of those juicy spoilers in that movie and what we thought of them. I can't wait to talk about that movie in depth. And the week after that, for our 60th episode spectacular, we'll be doing a deep dive into Wes Anderson's The French Dispatch.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, which is exciting. And if I was going to recommend that people check out anything that I talked about this week in Culture Catch-Up, I'd say watch the movie Belfast. It's spectacular and is definitely going to be discussed a lot during the award season. And sit yourself down for 3 hours of joy and check out Woodlands, Dark and Days Bewitched, History of Folk Horror, because it's so very, very wonderful. What would you recommend?
I would recommend the 2 books I've read, which are the book by Sayaka Murata, Earthlings, and the book by Cham Nam-jo, Kim Jo-young, born 1982.
Nice. Good call. Sounds good. Some reading and some movies to watch. I like it.
Yeah.
Please check us out on Instagram, where we're most active, to see various movie reviews from Letterboxd and other things that we post, along with little artwork that Alex does for the episodes, which is always a joy to see. And you can find us on various other places on social media by checking the show notes, where we put the links to all our social media channels, along with links to all the things we've discussed in Culture Catch-Up and MyTube. So please do read the show notes as well, and let us know. Get in touch with us. You can DM us on Instagram. You can email us, culturebucketpodcast@gmail.com, to tell us your thoughts on any of the things we've discussed today, or send in your requests for future episodes. We would always love to hear from you, so please do get in touch. And that's about it. Thank you so much for listening. We love you so much. Welcome to 2022. Bye.
Bye.